We're ready to go here in Antwerp. Day 2 of the individual apparatus finals. We'll see the men's vault, P-bars, and high bar, and the women's beam and Florine bar Connor, along with Amanda Borden. The first vaulter today is the only Romanian gymnast to make the final for the men. This is Marius Berbecar. He's a 28-year-old. Competed on their Olympic team last year in London.
Well, I've talked about how close the finals are on the men's events. Huge handspring double front there.
He
Tremendous leg strength.
He did.
Wow.
Landed a little bit low, but he managed to control it.
When I say how close it is just over 3/10 separating 8th place and 1st place coming into this finals. He was 7th.
The gymnasts in the finals are required to do 2 vaults from 2 different families of vaults. And he is elected to do this vault, which is a 5.6 degree of difficulty. There are some more difficult vaults being done in the competition.
You can see right here, he comes in, I mean, tremendous strength in the legs there because it would have been very easy to sit down. Of course, he will get a deduction for that low landing, but much better than a fall.
Wow. Good control on that landing. A little bit of a form knee separation during the flipping. Several gymnasts here are doing that vault with a half twist at the end, which is known as the Dragulescu, invented by the great gymnast from Romania, Marius Dragulescu. 14-8 the score for the first vault, Berbecar. Can't wait for the final vaulter today. He's the reigning Olympic champion, and all of this is a prelude to seeing if he can deliver 2 of the most crazy vaults that we'll see in this competition. The Romanian coaches on the sideline, including Marius Urzica, the former Olympic champion on the pommel horse.
This vault also starting from a 5.6. Nice distance, clean landing. He had that one step. Pretty solid start to the vault rotation.
Right. That vault is a 2.5 twister. It's known in the gymnastics world as a kazamatsu, 1.5. A kazamatsu is basically a full twister, and there's an additional 1.5 twist. It's very difficult to control that form of landing. But he landed really far away from the vaulting.
Lots of distance, and you can see those white lines on the mat. Really important. They stay in those lines if they do step out, like floor exercise. It is the deduction. Tremendous power coming into the table to get enough height and distance to complete that vault.
Remember, in the finals, they do 2 vaults from different families. The scores are averaged. And it's not uncommon for a gymnast to have 1 great vault and then 1 second vault that is, let's say, not as great.
Well, both of his vaults had the exact same start value, that 5.6, and day 1 he qualified with a 14.916.
14.85 for Berbecar. Diego Hippolito will be next up from Brazil. We saw him in the floor final. He placed 5th. He was 0.144 away from a medal there. We mentioned yesterday that he's had 5 foot, ankle, and knee surgeries. He's 27 years of age. He's still focused on trying to make the Olympics in his hometown of Rio de Janeiro in 2016.
Well, it's impressive with all of those surgeries. Still competitive on an event like vault.
Oh, nice control. That's the same vault that we saw from Berbecar, but it was better, wasn't it?
It was better. You could see complete control on the landing. His feet stayed together. The difference between being able to have control on the landing and not usually comes from how the athlete comes off of the table. The position right there, nice straight up position. Oh, looked like he did touch that out of bounds line. I didn't catch that the first time, but when you saw it in slow motion, you see he lands and then hops to the center. So he probably will get an out of bounds deduction there.
There is a judge at the end of the vaulting runway who, you can see that gentleman on the left. If he raises a flag, it will indicate to the judges on the sides that he did get a deduction for being out of line. This is his 5th attempt at the World Gymnastics Championships. No penalty, so he landed on the line, but not outside of the line. And 14.966 is the score. No deduction for landing on the line.
Second vault, 2/10 higher on the difficulty score. In the qualification, he scored a 15.033. So this is a strong vault for him. He's got to stay clean on the landing. different vaults. The first one, he came in that forward position. Second one, round off onto the board, the Yurchenko.
Man heeft er al een ontzettende internationale
Turns right onto the table.
En ook nu
Nice and straight on that one.
de finale springen. En we gaan naar Groot-Brittannië.
A good angle to see what happens here. He goes backward onto the horse, half turn, and then a lay out front with a double twist.
Au dernier jeu de Londres, il a terminé à la 8e place. À cet engin,
These vaults that we see in finals are absolutely amazing. Tremendous power. You'll see all kinds of twisting. And what I like about men's finals on vaults is you're going to see so many different vaults throughout the competition.
15.049. Second vault, 15.133. So Hippolito moves into the lead for the moment. The next vaulter coming up will be Christian Thomas from the Great Britain. He gave us a thrill at the Olympics last year. Just drilled a Yurchenko pike double back to help the British team win the bronze medal at those Olympic Games, their first team medal in 100 years. Let's see if he goes for it here in his first vault. It looks like he has signaled that's what he'll do. Just like last summer. Is that remarkable or what?
Wow. Remember, when you're coming off your hands like that, you're actually doing an extra flip in there. Unbelievable. That start value is the 6.0, but what's really going to help him is the landing on this vault. Right there, spots it, and almost holds it. Hey, judges, look at this.
He made the vault final, but sat down his second vault in London, and so that was, his feet didn't move at all. It was like he landed in a bucket of wet cement. Look at this, it's like bonk.
Wow.
Incredible. He'll need to do that well if he's going to contend for a medal today, because the reigning Olympic gold medalist is here, Yang Hak-seong from Korea. He'll be the final performer to go.
Should be a strong score.
15.5. Look at that. 6.0 in difficulty, 9.5 in execution. You rarely see scores 9.5 in that range in execution, so pretty remarkable. 5.6 will be the degree of difficulty of the second vault.
And this is where execution is going to be a big factor, because with that difficulty score being 4/10 lower, he's got to make it up in execution. Wow. He had that slight hop back. You could see he was really going for the stick. Much more difficult landing to stick in that forward position because you cannot see the ground. You're opening up, trying to guess where it's at. And you could see he really tried to settle into that wet cement again.
He really did. And, you know, he's a big guy. And to see him use such great technique, that was easy for him, wasn't it?
Beautiful.
C'est un candidat sérieux pour la médaille.
That should have a strong execution score.
Is the fact that his knees were pulled apart a little bit to help him increase his rotation. Just slightly under-rotated, but it's hard to find much wrong with that.
Wow.
He opened up
right
so
there,
early.
Opening up to try to see where he was at.
Yeah, I think he can move into the lead with those two balls. Good control on the landings and the most difficulty so far. 9.366 execution on the second ball. 14.966. 15.233. His score in qualifying was a 14.933, so 3/10 better today.
And that puts him right in the running with the #1 qualifying score, which was a 15.299.
Oleg Verneyev coming up next. He just turned 20 years of age before these World Championships began. He's had a terrible competition here. On the high bar, he scored 11 points twice. So let's see if he can deliver a vault here.
There was that half turn. It can make it a little bit easier to stick, but he came up short, so his chest was completely down. Of course, the step forward as well.
Qualifying, he did 2 vaults with 6.0 difficulty. That vault is the Dragulescu that I mentioned earlier. Handspring double front and the half turn, as you mentioned. This is an incredibly talented young man. He's just had a very difficult time at these World Championships, qualifying for only 1 final.
Well, he looked like in the all-around he was right in the mix. He went into the high bar, actually, I believe in 2nd place, and then just completely blew it. I mean, he had multiple mistakes throughout the high bar routine.
It was like a complete meltdown. He fell a couple of times, he stopped a couple of times, scored barely over 11 points. And here's a guy who was 11th in the all-around in the Olympics last year in London.
Derde allround. Brons pakte hij daar. 20 jaar oud is hij uit Donetsk in Oekraïne.
15.133, the score for his first vault.
33 voor zijn eerste sprong.
Second vault will start from that 6.0 also. The qualification round, he had an out-of-bounds deduction, so that is an easy way to add a 10th to the score.
Here is Oleg Vermayev.
So far, the only gymnast today doing 2 6.0 vaults in the final. The leader is Christian Thomas of Great Britain.
Triple fall, very, very difficult. Obviously fitting in those 3 twists is the difficult part, but when you take a look at this, you're gonna see he was a little short on rotation, so he pikes it down right here, and you can see his heels dug into the mat. As soon as you get your heels into the mat like that, it's almost impossible to stay on your feet.
Well, he was cranking so hard to make that triple twist. We've seen a couple of 2.5 twisters so far, but this is an additional half twist, and look how hard he is cranking.
Le podium, on pourra l'oublier avec 7 chutes.
It's almost like he didn't quite know where the landing was, so he put those feet in front. It's too bad.
Fall is a 1-point deduction, so that will keep him certainly off the medal podium. He went for some difficult vaults. Didn't work out well today for the young 20-year-old from Donetsk, Ukraine. Ranks 4th with a 14.449. Men's vault competition continues here with Christian Thomas from Great Britain, the leader, with a 15.233, 0.3 of a point higher than his qualifying score. As we turn our attention to the next vaulter is Sergio Sasaki from Great Britain, qualified in 3rd place, and he should attempt his first vault, 6.0 degree of difficulty, a handspring double front with a half, the Dragulescu. Pardon me, I did say Great Britain, I meant Brazil.
Well, lots of power in that vault. You can see a much cleaner landing than we saw earlier because he had that great position coming off the table. He has so much power coming in, and it comes straight up off the table, so it helps him get enough rotation as well as complete that twist and really fight for that landing.
You're right here, and he gets onto the vault table. Watch the technique. Boom! He just gets a huge launch from the table that sets him up high enough and still allows him to have rotation.
It's a tough balance because you can't just be high. You have to have that rotation, otherwise you come up short. And even though that half twist makes it a little bit easier to see the ground, to find the landing, if you don't have enough rotation, you still come up short, and then that's a deduction for the chest down.
Every gymnastics coach is always telling the gymnast, get your heels up onto the vault table. Well, there is the prime example of why that works, because he gets his heels up, sends them up in the air, and also sets the rotation. 15.333. Same as his score in qualifying. Now his second vault in qualifying was just a 5.6, so he'll need to be clean on the landing.
Yeah, and he had an out-of-bounds deduction on that, so...
Score to beat is 15.233 from Christian Thomas of Great Britain.
Big vault. Pretty clean in the air. Of course, he had that big jump forward. But he is packed with power.
He sure is, and he's fun to watch on floor and vault in particular. He's a great all-arounder. 10th in the all-around at the Olympics last year in London.
See, a little too much rotation.
You know, he's focused on the Olympics in 2016 in Rio. And he'll be a very popular figure there because he's exciting, he's a big personality, and he's hugely popular in his home country.
Well, and he's had a successful week here at this World Championships. He finished 5th in the all-around finals this week as well.
Brésilien Sergio. Le gymnaste suivant pour une petite anecdote.
14.866. You can see he had good execution score in that second vault, but the 5.6 degree of difficulty puts him at a little disadvantage to someone like Christian Thomas, who now will hold on to the lead. His 15.099 for Sasaki. Now here's Kenzo Shirai, who gave us the thrill yesterday in the floor finals. He debuted the quad twisting dismount on the floor, which is now named after him. He qualified in 6th into this vault final. What a debut he's had here in Antwerp.
Well, he's so fun to watch because he just looks like he's always having a great time.
Wow. He's a master at those twisting elements, and to do your Yurchenko triple twist and just sort of drop out of it, that's remarkable.
That is remarkable. Maybe we'll see a quad someday from him on this event as well, but today a nice height right here. Turned a little bit early off the table, so it took him to that left side, and of course that out-of-bounds deduction will be 1/10.
Aan de grond in de kwalificatiewedstrijden hier op dit WK.
The other reason it's so impressive to me is he's 17 years old. One of the youngest, or the youngest member on the men's Japanese national team.
And it's really rare, actually. Most of the Japanese gymnasts mature into this world level when they're sort of in their mid-20s. So the fact that he is so good at such a young age is quite rare. Other countries, you have young athletes from Russia, even the United States. But Japan, typically, their champions are much older. 6.0 degree of difficulty, 9.466. So, let's see what he comes up with his second vault. He did take a deduction for what's called a neutral deduction for the landing. 1/10 of a point. Kanagawa, Japan. Second vault will be a 5.6 degree of difficulty. He gives up 4/10 to Christian Thomas, our leader in difficulty here.
Another strong twisting vault. He came close to that white line again. Qualification round, he went completely out, lost 3/10, so much better landing than we saw.
De nieuwe wereldkampioen aan de grond. Gisteren pakte hij die titel.
Coming in that forward entrance right there, you can see that twist, and it just kind of jets him a little bit to the left on the landing, but I believe he stayed in the white line. Let's get a better look right here.
Le premier saut que Kenzo a présenté est un nouvel élément.
Right to the edge of it.
Dès le moment où la FIC aura attribué, reconnu ce premier saut, il portera, je pense,
You can see how tight he gets into that twisting position.
Le nom de ce gymnaste, premier gymnaste à effectuer une quadruple vrille au sol en championnat officiel, Kenzo Shirai.
To be a teammate with King Kohei, he's got to be giving him some tips on how to handle all this.
At 15.133 puts him in second place. Notice that 1/10 of a point penalty on his first vault hurt him here in his medal chances. Christian Thomas currently the leader. 2 vaulters yet to go. Next up will be American Steven Legendre, who is also doing 2 6.0 degree of difficulty vaults. This is his 4th World Championship appearance. 4 times he made the finals on floor, but the first time he's made it on vault. And the door is open because he has such high difficulty level.
The key is going to be execution. Big landing here.
Oh. You know, it looked like he had a little bit of a stutter step just before he got to the vaulting springboard, but he is so enormously powerful.
Well, you can just see he had tremendous power on the run.
When he takes off in Antwerp and lands in Brussels. It's amazing.
Lots of height. You can see lots of distance. The open almost extended his body a little too much. I think he was going for the stick, and then it left his chest down, and that left foot was on the white line.
I've seen him rotate that further in other competitions. You can see his chest is down, and they take a deduction for that, as well as the fault on the landing.
Well, right here, he starts to open.
And the World Championships
You
in
can see that
Tokyo
when
in
you
2011.
open the flip, it does slow the flip down a little bit. But he held on to that landing. We'll see if the judges took the penalty.
Well, his second vault will be a 6.0. Also, no penalty, so he didn't go over the line. 15.266.
15.266.
He is slightly ahead of Christian Thomas at this point, if he can put a second vault down.
Steven Legendre.
Well, in the day 1 competition, the second one had a cleaner execution score. So all he needs to do is get that nice takeoff position off the table so that he can drill this landing.
A medal opportunity for the United States right here. Soup pike double. Oh, nice.
Wow. I think that's going to put him right in the mix. I don't know if it's enough to beat Christian, but he should be in medal contention.
He has 4/10 of degree of difficulty more in that second vault than Thomas did, so he has a little room for error. Probably a 3/10 of a point step.
Well, this is a huge vault.
And he was right in line.
Same vault we saw Christian do on his first vault. Steven doing that on his second vault, and of course that large step back, but other than that, he's got to be thrilled with that performance.
I mentioned he's 4-time World Championship team member. He's been in the floor finals 4 times, but has always come up short. His best place finish was 5th place in the floor finals, so he has not earned an individual medal at the Worlds. He could be looking good here.
Een man uit Korea die zich Olympisch kampioen aan de sprong mag noemen. Met een score van
Mark Williams, his coach at the University of Oklahoma, on the sidelines there. Hey, goes into first place with a 15.233. He's in first. 15.249 is his composite score. So Legendre moves into the lead. Christian Thomas in second. Kenzo Shirai of Japan is in third. And the reigning Olympic champion with the most difficult vaults in the world getting ready to go now. And let me tell you a story about this young man. This vault he's going to do is named after him. He comes from a family very poor in South Korea, and he became a national hero. And after people found that his family had poor living conditions, people donated money, and he had a flood of money coming in after his gold medalist. Let's see what he does today. Oh, yes. That's the handspring layout front with a triple twist that is now named after him. Yang Hak-seong.
Beautiful execution. To do a vault like this, you have to have perfect technique. And good technique leads to nice execution. You can see right there in the air. Nice body alignment. Tough to land. Obviously squeezing in 3 twists. You can see as he comes into the landing, he's still twisting just a little bit, so that's why he steps across, but stays in the bounds.
Keep in mind, this is a 6.4 degree of difficulty, so he has 4/10 of a point more than Legendre on his first vault. So he has a little room for error because of the difficulty value. Legendre is currently the leader.
He didn't perform that vault in the qualification round.
He did not. Just did
Stuck
the
with
2.5.
the 2.5, which was the 6.0. But we see a lot of athletes add in the extra difficulty in finals. And we've talked about how important this difficulty score is because it automatically gives them a 4/10 advantage.
That's right. That paid off for Jake Dalton yesterday and did a little more difficult floor routine and ended up with a silver medal for the United States. 15-7-3-3. Yang Hak Seong. See what he comes up with his second vault. In qualifying, he did a 6.0 degree of difficulty. He's also been known to do a even more difficult vault, a 3.5 twisting Sukahara. But it looks like today he'll go for the, I don't know, we'll wait and see. He submitted the 3.5 twister to the International Gymnastics Federation for evaluation here in Antwerp. He hasn't been able to compete it successfully, so he went with a triple twist, and boy, that was outstanding. There's your gold medalist there, folks. I don't think there's any question about it.
Well, day one, his execution scores were very high. He repeated and added the difficulty, so...
Steven Legendre from the United States will be guaranteed of a silver medal once we see the final numbers. I think at this point it's all academic. That was remarkable, those two vaults.
Well, there again, beautiful form in the air. You could see his arms are already ready for that landing. You see he was going for a stick, not a perfect stick, but that's about all the judges can take on this vault is that little step hop back.
Olympisch kampioen en dan wereldkampioen.
Just like Kenzo Shirai, he really specializes in twisting type vaults. And the reigning Olympic champion will soon earn a world championship gold to go with it as well. 15-5-3-3. So Yang Hak Seong will win his first world championship on the vault. Steven Legendre from the United States will get the silver. When we come back, we'll move to the women's balance beam, which includes all three of the all-around medalists in the beam final. When we come back to Antwerp, don't go away.
Prepare for the march out. And we